because apparently he did not get the memo about having to queue for special panels and exhibits going on at Celebration, and he is now just getting in. Hopefully, it is not too late. We will find out. Stick around to the end of the stream
Yeah.
to find out how angry Zach gets.
So, like, my whole thing is I didn't get an email, and I'm a paying customer. I'm going to sound like a Karen, but I'm a paying customer, Lucasfilm, or whoever's in charge of the panel. I would like to go to some of the panels. And if you don't send me an email, how am I supposed to know I can't queue? So luckily, my good friend AD Edits here is in the know about such things, and I get to queue now. But yeah, whatever. That's just how my day is going.
I'd say it's mostly my girlfriend, but yeah, I'll take the credit. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
What's
that's
up,
true.
everyone? Kat unfortunately has meetings for her film that she's involved in this evening, so she is not going to be with us tonight. Next week we will not have one either because of Celebration. But then the week after we'll be having all sorts of special guests and everything for the watch parties, etc. So it'll be fun. But welcome everyone. You guys are freezing. It's super hot over here, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel, Zach. I've been sweating.
It was worse over the weekend, but yeah, I mean, this is gonna be our last stream before Kenobi starts, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think we're gonna be doing the pre-watch parties or just a podcast at normal time, and then just enjoy the show for ourselves, and you guys can all kind of maybe we'll hop on after. I mean, I think that's still what we have to figure out.
Yeah.
But we should have it all figured out by the time Celebration's done. But we're also not going to be like, I guess, live streaming, not only because we can't, but also because we kind of want to enjoy the event and not worry about making content. But we can talk all about it on the podcast after for you all. So
Definitely.
that'll be fun. We will get into now the meme of the week. Actually, before we do the meme of the week, I just want to say we got a ping pong table in the evil Ewok house. So, you know, whenever if Kat ever watches this, whenever she decides to come, or X-Wing or anyone, when they actually come over, we can have a ping pong tournament now, and we can live stream the entire thing, and you guys can see how bad everyone is at ping pong and how amazing I am. But that's beside the point. But here we go into our meme of the week.
What are we looking at here?
We're looking at sea otters. 6 of them here. And they were in front of us and they were just following them now, slowly. They're beautiful. They go down to the bottom, they get a stone, and they go down to the bottom, they get a seashell, and then like a clam or something like that. And they come back up and they roll on their backs, and then they smash the shell with the stone like that, and then eat the mussel or whatever is inside. Go down for another one for the stone. It's cool, isn't it?
So yes, that's what Kenobi actually is going to be. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's going to be Ewan McGregor discovering sea otters down in South America, and he's going to have an amazing time doing it in his Obi-Wan Kenobi outfit. So
that's what I always wanted, personally.
Yeah. I mean, all the theories, everything going on about how, you know, Reva or Reva, however you want to say it, is going to be the main protagonist, and really they're scrapping all of that and just making Ewan McGregor look at sea otters for 6 episodes. I mean, I'm really excited. I don't know about you.
How do you think they're gonna work it into canon? How he's been going by Obi-Wan and then he goes by Ben, but there's this period of time where he's gonna go by this Ewan name.
Yeah, this Ewan McGregor name, very Irish. I mean, or Scottish. I don't really know if Scotland exists in the Star Wars universe, but I guess we'll understand like how Earth and the multiverse kind of comes into play. I really think it's going to be exciting to see him, you know, dive deep into his passion and his love for sea otters, and his newfound love for, I guess, nature and riding on boats. You know, I think that could be a really awesome 6-episode series.
Yeah, I mean, it seems he's transferred his love for the Jedi Order and his dedication to the Jedi Order to sea otters, and I think that's something that we can all learn from, because our world is beautiful, and we all need to appreciate it as much as Ewan does. But shall we get into it here? We've got a massive Vanity Fair article to go through. we're probably just going to read through it. Alex, feel free to stop me if there's anything you want to talk about.
Stop.
Not yet, but let's get into this article. All right, Star Wars: The Rebellion will be televised. So there's a lot here. It's going to cover like all these shows that you see on this cover here. Diego Luna couldn't trust the driver. He didn't think he could trust anybody, and hadn't he read something about an epidemic of eavesdroppers hacking phones? That was just my paranoia, the actor says now, not connected to reality. Still, he pressed his phone tightly to his ear that made his face hot as a voice from thousands of miles away told him secrets from another galaxy. The car was stuck in traffic on the top tier of a double-decker highway in Mexico City. I was speaking in code words because I was trying not to say too much in the car, says Luna. The words he was avoiding most strenuously were star and wars. Luna had played the dauntless rebel spy Cassian Andor in the 2016 film Rogue One. Now, on the other end of the phone was Tony Gilroy, who had punched up the movie's script for reshoots. Gilroy, whose credits include writing the first 4 Bourne thrillers and writing and directing Michael Clayton, was developing a series that would explore Andor's backstory, revealing what drew him into the Galactic Rebellion and how he evolved from a self-serving nihilist into a selfless martyr. Luna's call with Gilroy, the first time he had heard the full plan for the Andor story, happened more than 3 years ago. One thing I remember from being part of this since day one is how little you can share of what happened, says the actor. I have kids, man. It's painful for them. It's painful for me. And we have these sick ass pictures.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is like in our little thumbnail for this stream? There's like there's those little black dots behind them. What is going on there? Is that just like a behind the scenes image of like
it looks
tech
like
that they're using?
Yeah, because I mean this article talks about the tech a lot, so I figure they're fine with showing that in the images too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. The volume.
Oh yeah, it's sick.
I can't get over how sick that is. I also wanted, like, I was just talking to you guys, or talking to you, Zach, about this earlier, but I want to find it very interesting how people didn't even really read the article. They just saw the image of all 4 characters and they're like, wow, they're going to put all of them in the Kenobi series. Wow, cameos. Wow, cash grab. Wow. It's like, dude, read the article. They're announcing all of the shows coming up. Whether they're all cash grabs is completely separated from the fact that you thought they were all going to be in the show. They most likely, if not definitely, are not going to be in the show. So
I don't think any of the people on the right will be in the show.
I think that's the point here.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very important to read articles and to actually read the sources that you are saying you already did read and then having an opinion on. So
this is very true. Anyway, George Lucas himself had attempted and abandoned a live-action Star Wars series called Underworld before he sold Lucasfilm to the Walt Disney Company in 2012, which was an interesting idea. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It would have been like the Underworld on Coruscant, kind of like this,
like 1313 kind of deal.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Okay.
But they canceled it. Maybe we'll see it again somehow in the future. But yeah, scripts were written and test footage shot, but the level of quality he was looking for proved to be too expensive for a TV budget. It sounds very like George Lucas. Then in 2017, Lucasfilm was tasked with trying again, this time making not one series, but a whole fleet to bolster its parent company's streaming ambitions. Disney Plus would need the firepower of many Star Wars shows to compete against rival titans like Netflix and Amazon. The Mandalorian we know now became a global phenomenon, which only raised expectations. In the winter, the Book of Boba Fett delivered a redemption story nearly 4 decades after the title character's apparent demise in Return of the Jedi. Fett. Yeah, I don't love that show, but it has its moments. Now with 130 million subscribers waiting, Disney has upped its demands to 3 separate Star Wars shows within a year. For this story, Lucasfilm has lifted the secrecy surrounding its TV universe and how it formed, as universes do, under immense pressure. And we have
I think, I mean, obviously it's just, filler journalist talk, but everyone's saying, like, I hope to God they don't Boba Fett this. And I couldn't agree with that statement more. If Kenobi is anything like Book of Boba Fett and how it's like, very face value and not like a deep, emotionally gripping story with one of the greatest actors, I guess, of this generation.
Yeah.
That just proves that Disney is just incompetent. Like,
yeah. And Ewan's Ewan will talk about this in a bit in the article, but he's saying how he wants to play a character who's a broken man, and if they failed to do that, when it's so obvious and it's so easy to go that route, then I don't know. I just don't have any trust in them at that point, which hopefully we don't have to face that possibility. But yeah, I agree with you. It definitely has to be way deeper than the Book of Boba Fett, because the Book of Boba Fett, it was very plot heavy, and it wasn't even a good plot. Like, it was a very basic plot, and they never really explained to my liking why Boba Fett was no longer this like terrible person. But at least Obi-Wan is a more defined character than Boba Fett, so they have more to work with. First up is Ewan McGregor's return to his role as a weary Jedi Master in exile. Obi-Wan Kenobi debuts on May 28th, tracking the character 10 years into his time on the desert world of Tatooine, where he serves as a distant guardian to a young Luke Skywalker and is hunted by a dark side inquisitor named Reva, played by the Queen's Gambit's Moses Ingram. Luna's spy saga, Andor, hit screens late this summer. Season 3 of Mandalorian, reuniting Pedro Pascal's helmeted gunfighter with his little green ward, you know who, drops in late 2022 or early 2023. Next year, Rosario Dawson will lead the series Ahsoka, playing the live-action version of a fan-favorite Force wielder from animation who was once an apprentice to Anakin Skywalker.
Wait, when is Ahsoka?
Next year. No, it doesn't.
So probably
say.
after Mando then.
Definitely after Mando. Yeah. I would say mid to late next year if I had to guess.
So like around this time next year is probably when we're gonna
At
have
the
it.
earliest.
They just started filming, right? So it's probably gonna come around this time next year.
Yeah.
And yes, that is the same actress from Mon Mothma, only she's in a
Rogue
different
One
outfit.
too.
I didn't recognize her at first too.
I didn't know she was in the prequels. I didn't know that actress was in the prequels. I thought
really?
Yeah, but she is. Like, I just learned that from this article.
What in Revenge or in what?
Yeah,
scene?
she plays Mon Mothma. I don't know if they like cut. I think they cut some scenes that she was in, but she's in.
Oh no, the scene where all the senators are together, the deleted scene in Revenge. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's in that. I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, which is pretty cool and pretty thorough of them. But yeah, I did see this. He mentioned wanting to see Charger again a couple times in a mod best and whatnot. So that was cool.
Yeah, Ahmad definitely deserves reparations.
Ahmad, he's such a good dude. Where were we?
What up, Fulcrum?
Fulcrum's in the house.
What up, Total Yarn and Celia's personal chair? Daddy Josh,
the Stanleys,
the homie MTS, the Stanleys, Charlie, of course. She was in the deleted scene, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, very thorough of them. Okay. Let's see. We were slightly further off is the Acolyte, with a tale set about a century before the era of the Skywalkers. We still don't really learn much about that show in this article. It's a bountiful time to be a Star Wars obsessive, to say the least. McGregor, who wrestled with joining the galaxy in the late 90s and wrestled again with whether to return, says the gig has saturated his life. My partner, Mary, is doing that Star Wars series with Rosario, and she's about to start, he says. Lucasfilm hadn't previously confirmed rumors that Mary Elizabeth Winstead will be in Ahsoka, but now they don't have to. Our little boy has been born into this massive Star Wars family, said McGregor, whose son with Winstead was born last summer. He will either embrace it or really go the other way. I don't know. Maybe he'll be a Trekkie.
Oh, God.
On that day in mid-2019, when Luna was recruited for Andor, the actor remembers looking out the car window at the rooftops of the adjacent buildings, visualizing the tale about resistance-minded spies and near-death escapes. He was especially glad that Gilroy's proposal included details that resonated personally. Luna describes Andor as a refugee story, with desperate people fleeing the Empire at the full force of its power. It's the journey of a migrant, he says, the feeling of having to move is behind the story, very profoundly and very strong. That shapes you as a person. It defines you in many ways and what you're willing to do. Gilroy breathes deep and reveals a little more about Andor. This guy gave his life for the galaxy, right? I mean, he consciously, soberly, without vanity or recognition, sacrificed himself.
Vanity.
Roll credits. Who does that? Yes. That's what this first season is about. It's about him being really revolution adverse and cynical and lost and kind of a mess. The story begins with the destruction of Andor's birth world, then follows him into adulthood when he realizes he can't run forever. His adopted home will become the base of our whole first season, and we will watch that place become radicalized, Gilroy says. Then we will see another planet that's completely taken apart in a kind of colonial kind of way. The Empire is expanding rapidly. They're wiping out anybody who's in their way. By Journey's End, Andor's path will be to block theirs.
Yeah, it'll be like Andor explaining how he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Just getting deep into like that lore because it was already mentioned. I mean, I think it's going to be good because it's going to be like a fresh take and something different. It's a really great era. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm not expecting anything, which is probably why I'm going to enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's far contrasting the Kenobi series, which has to be literally, something that gets me back into Star Wars the way I saw Luke come back.
I would compare my excitement level for Andor to like probably.
Also, what's up, Aiden?
It's probably a little more than like Solo at the time. Like I was like, Solo. But like Andor, I like Cassian, but I'm not like super excited about the show, which is again like to echo your sentiment exactly why I'll probably like it, because I have no expectations for it. So yeah, I mean it definitely, if it's anything like Rogue One, if it looks like Rogue One, I love the way Rogue One was shot, then I'm probably gonna enjoy it.
It should look exactly like Rogue One, just for the sake of keeping his character looking the same in a way.
Aren't they using? I think they're using the same like cinematographer.
It'd be cool if Gareth did it, even though he's not going to. It would be cool if he did it.
Yeah, he did a good job with Rogue One.
Yeah, I actually like Cassian as a character too.
Yeah, I love how he's not like, he showed like this darker side of the rebellion when he kills that guy at the beginning to prevent him from being captured.
Yeah, instead of like facade, like parading them around as like the heroes of everything, it's like to be heroes in this time, it doesn't really truly exist because there's like obviously dark sides to everything. So
exactly. Yeah.
I like seeing that kind of stuff. I like seeing just world building and story building and building on top of the source material, not tearing it down and inserting, whatever you want to call it, agendas, whatever. I just want good storytelling at the end of the day. I don't care who plays who, just fucking write a good story, man.
Yep, definitely. The story is king. The show also focuses on the enigmatic rebel leader Mon Mothma, played by Genevieve O'Reilly, who portrayed her as a young senator in Revenge of the Sith, then reprised the role in Rogue One. Mothma, then played by Caroline Blackstone, was the priestess-like figure in 1983's Return of the Jedi who outlines weaknesses in the new Death Star, gravely intoning, "Many Bothans died to bring us this information." In Andor, her story will run parallel to the title character, whom we know will eventually become one of her key agents. It is a huge orchestral Dickensian ensemble cast, says Gilroy.
I can't even read that.
It's a bit of a mouthful. I didn't know she was going to be playing such an integral role to the show, but I'm kind of excited. Like, Mon Mothma is a character that we haven't really seen too often, and any chance to explore her, because she is one of the senior most members of the rebellion, so any chance to explore her character is a win for me.
I want to see more like, I know they're probably going to do this with Thrawn, but I want to see more Imperial, perspectives, like really bad.
I'm sure.
Just like, instead of them looking like bumbling idiots all the time, I'd rather see like, some really cool, like there's a reason why they are, so scared and so feared in the galaxy. They're not all stupid. So I would really like to see just, the planning and like the moves and just the whole process behind the scenes that we don't get to really see. We just see them we just see the rebellion struggling all the time. So I would like to see, more behind the scenes in that regard for sure.
Yeah, maybe we will.
What's up, Darth Weavin?
Darth Weavin. Yo. Luna remembers the conversation in the car as the moment he was all in. At the end, Gilroy said to me, "You want to take this risk with me, man? It's you and I from beginning to end," says the actor. "It was like you'd been recruited to join a rebel force." I was like, "Yes, of course, man. Yes." Then reality set in. What did I just say? This will be happening in London. My life is in Mexico. Holy shit, what have I done? I mean, anything to be in Star Wars, right? I'd move wherever.
I mean, coming from Mexico, I would 100%. But that's coming from a perspective where I gotten to live in America, California, So
He probably lives in a nice area in Mexico, though. He's a well-off guy.
He probably comes from a good family that had money. So,
it's the theme that binds all the new shows, devotion. What's unique about Star Wars is that we're one story, basically, says Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. George was always dealing with episodes. Ironically, he was serializing his storytelling. He was influenced by Flash Gordon and cliffhangers on Saturdays at movie theaters. All of that informed what the DNA of Star Wars is, which is why I think it's just organic that we've made the transition into the television. And I appreciate that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to make it seem like she understands Star Wars. I think
she always tries, dude.
It's clear she doesn't. She has admitted she's not a Star Wars fan. And I think she's at her best when she just lets the people who do know Star Wars do their thing. And we'll talk about them later in this article. But she's not a Kevin Feige. She can't be hands-on. She doesn't understand the Star Wars universe like Favreau and Filoni do. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, it really just comes down to money. Like, if the money's coming in, no one questions it. If the money doesn't come in, that's when they do some damage control. That's the only factor. They don't give a shit about how it reviews. They don't give a shit about any of that. They really only care about if it keeps making money for them and their bottom line. That's really the only indicator that they care about. It's proof. So, I mean, unfortunately, they're going to keep making money on all these projects, whether they're good or not. It doesn't really matter. So, I mean, it's really just whoever gets to have, creative control. If they ever give creative control to someone else other than themselves, it's going to be the determining factor on whether it's good or not. But, it's really just, they can basically do whatever the hell they want. Solo was the only thing that kind of made them look at it a little bit more, but I doubt they're going to have another Solo issue going on.
We're going to talk about that in a bit. They actually bring it up in the article. It's the theme that oh wait, we already read this. The transition was not an obvious pivot for an empire built on movies. When she took over Lucasfilm in 2012, Kennedy's primary goal was to rejuvenate Star Wars with a new era of films after a trilogy of prequels that underwhelmed many fans. Mission not accomplished. Few producers were better poised to do that, given her legacy of crowd pleasers ranging from E.T. to Back to the Future and The Sixth Sense. By the end of 2015, Han, Leia, and Luke were back on the big screen in J.J. Abrams' The Force Awakens, which introduced the desert scavenger Rey, the redemption-seeking stormtrooper Finn, the X-Wing hotshot Poe Dameron, and the brooding Sith wannabe Kylo Ren. Rian Johnson's sequel, 2017's The Last Jedi, continued the Skywalker saga as it came to be known, but veered sharply from Abrams' vision and seemed to close off some central storylines. Abrams U-turned back when he returned for 2019 final chapter, The Rise of Skywalker, taking over episode 9 late in development. The movies all earned billions, but the zigzagging narrative was conspicuous. Yes, it was. And they don't really talk about that, which kind of irked me. Instead, they, as you'll see later in the article, they kind of blame Solo. And they continue to kind of ignore their screw up, at least like with their words. They never mention how they screwed up the sequels.
I mean, they want to keep getting the rights to be able to write exclusive articles for Star Wars, so they're not.
I'm not saying Vanity Fair. I'm saying like Kathleen Kennedy doesn't say anything about how the sequels were a misfire. Of course not. She instead opts to kind of blame Solo.
I mean, because they have so much money still in the sequel trilogy, and they don't want to say they screwed it up, because then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I guess they did screw it up. I'm done." Because there is still a large fan base that actually enjoys them, which is unfortunate.
And they also have the theme park is all sequel trilogy.
Okay. Yeah, that too. Yeah, at Disneyland, they have so much money in Disneyland, which, by the way, is actually pretty cool. It's very immersive. It's just after a couple of times, it's just not as exciting.
Yeah. I have not been yet. All this led to the hiatus, a fallow spot in the Star Wars film landscape that Kennedy announced early in 2019, months before The Rise of Skywalker even debuted, which did not inspire confidence in me for that movie at the time. Lucasfilm needed to regroup and rethink. We all recognized, every single one of us, that this was a new chapter for the company and that we needed to work together to create the architecture for where we were going. Factor in the standalone movies Rogue One and Solo, and the Bay Area production company had been churning out a blockbuster a year, a breakneck pace considering that Lucas himself only released one Star Wars film every 3 years, with well over a decade between trilogies. Kennedy wanted to dispense with the annual deadline and reconsider everything. The most important lesson they learned was this: Star Wars required a greater degree of professional devotion from filmmakers. Anyone who comes into the Star Wars universe needs to know that it's a 3, 4, 5-year commitment, she says. That's what it takes. You can't step in for a year and shoot something and then walk away. It requires that kind of nurturing. Getting something appropriately cosmic prepped for their streaming service's launch became Disney's highest priority. It had to feel as big as the film, so Kennedy turned to a filmmaker. On this point, I agree with her. I think Rian Johnson, who just came in and like shot a movie for a year and then left, like that doesn't work. We saw it. It doesn't work. You need to really study Star Wars. You need to understand Star Wars, or the fans will know that you don't.
Yeah, I mean, we've beaten this point like a dead horse, but it's so
Yeah.
true. Like, you can't say it enough, like how important and how vital that is. And also, thanks, Aiden.
Thanks, Aiden, putting us through grad school again.
Yeah, dude. Or should I say Hayden? Haha.
All right. Jon Favreau had inaugurated the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man a decade before and was steeped in a large-scale serialized storytelling. The actor and director had also become so proficient with visual effects that his most recent Disney projects, The Jungle Book and The Lion King, were often mistakenly described as live action, even though both are almost entirely digitally simulated. I knew that Jon Favreau was always deeply interested in Star Wars. He was the first person I went to, Kennedy says. He said, not only would I have an interest, I have an idea. Plus, he was willing to meet that new criteria of hers. What's unique about Jon is his commitment, Kennedy says. He's had sole focus pretty much on this for the last several years. That's been a godsend. After meeting at Kennedy's office in Santa Monica, Favreau started work without even a contract. I just started writing, he says. So by the time I was officially hired, I had already written the first, I think, 4 episodes. But there was a problem. Favreau's idea was about a Mandalorian, the helmeted tribe of galactic warriors who frequently turn up as mercenaries or bounty hunters. The first, and for a long time, the only Mandalorian in early Star Wars films was Boba Fett, and Lucasfilm planned to make him the central character in a feature film being developed by director James Mangold. So this is interesting because this is like official confirmation that that was a thing at one point in time. Because you remember all the rumors about it?
Mm-hmm.
So they confirm it here. So there's a lot of that in this article that really surprised me with their
Which
forthcomingness.
only makes you question, like about how many rumors are truly actually truthful, and it makes me actually a little sad. But we'll get into that later. But I also wanted to ask you, Zach, is this an inside joke that I'm not familiar with? What is this?
I have no idea.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on. But I was like, is that something that I missed on a past stream or something? I have no idea.
No, I don't know.
Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and keep going.
All right, where was I? That wasn't the problem. Although Favreau would eventually pick up the Boba Fett story after Mangold moved on to another Lucasfilm property, directing Indiana Jones 5, starring like 80-year-old Harrison Ford. The problem Kennedy faced was that another esteemed creative executive, Dave Filoni, had also devised a series focused on Mandalorians. Filoni is the colorful cowboy hat wearing mastermind behind many of Lucasfilm's animated shows. He joined the company in 2005 as an apprentice to Lucas himself and developed the Clone Wars with them. Filoni wanted to explore some of the ideas they'd never fully realized. I remember when I did Clone Wars, George came in and said, well, the Mandalorians are pacifists in this time period. And I'm like, oh, well, that's very different than what everybody thinks they were. And he was like, well, you've got to remember that people are never just one thing. Cultures evolve and they change over time. And I remember this, like, a lot of this got a lot of backlash. A lot of people who were like really big fans of of Legends, like the Mandalorian story in Legends, hated this in the Clone Wars. Like, and it makes sense. Like, you're expecting these badass warriors, and you get a bunch of pacifists who are just doing politics and stuff.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but I think that I enjoyed the Mandalorian stuff in the Clone Wars, especially with like Satine and Obi-Wan.
That was one of the most important, like, kind of arcs for me in Clone Wars, was Satine and Obi-Wan. So that's why I was like so, hopeful that we were going to get that in this series. I really don't think we're going to get that anymore, but I was pretty hopeful that we'd get like some kind of flashback or something to live action Satine, because that's everything to me. I just like it. Just brings even more humanity to Obi-Wan, which is like, he's just so unrealistically, impervious to like any outside dark side influence, despite everything bad that could possibly happen to you happening to you. So he's kind
Yeah.
of like the unrealistic character trope that everyone should have their standards to be, even though that's very unrealistic, but it gives you hope that, you can always climb out of bad situations. So that's why I like him so much. That's why this show needs to be fucking brilliant. Otherwise, there's going to be death.
Yeah, Death Watch was not pacifist. And I think that's a good point to bring up. I mean, if you don't have that whole struggle of idealism between the Mandalorian factions, what do you have with Mandalore? Like, that was such a big arc in the Clone Wars. I mean, it led to so much. It led to Darth Maul taking over Mandalore, and then it led to the last 4 episodes of season 7 of the Clone Wars. Some of the best moments in the Clone Wars were because of that decision by George Lucas. So, I mean, guy's kind of a genius. We all know that. So,
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. He just created this thing that we're talking about right now. Where were we? Being able to channel the creator makes Filoni indispensable at Lucasfilm. He was a critical part of the company's new TV ventures, and Kennedy has been nurturing his filmmaking ambitions ever since her arrival. Favreau and Filoni were friendly, but Kennedy feared a turf war might erupt. She devised a fix. I arranged a play date, she says. After meeting in Los Angeles, Favreau and Filoni exchanged ideas and drawings for a Mandalorian show that could combine their ideas. They got along instantly, like gangbusters, Kennedy says. Filoni's knowledge of Mandalorian history blended with Favreau's lone gunslinger concept. Most importantly, the new partners challenged each other. Favreau's idea for the child was the biggest sticking point. It gave us some pause, Kennedy says. He and Dave debated that quite ferociously. And we have this sick-ass picture of Hayden.
That beautiful man.
With the cape. Dude, I wish capes were like I wish we could all wear capes like everyday life.
Everyone just wore cloaks. Like,
yeah, dude.
Like Middle Ages.
They're sick.
Yeah, there's just no rhyme or reason to do it.
You don't need a rhyme or reason to do it. They're sick.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, look at that. Look at that man, dude. He doesn't even look that much older than he does in the prequels.
His voice is older though.
Yeah, but you know what? It sounds more like Anakin from Clone Wars to me.
Oh yeah, because Matt Lanter was older when he voiced younger Anakin, which would make sense now.
But his voice sounds like deeper and whatnot.
He was what, 24 in Revenge of the Sith? How old was he? Do you know? Do you remember?
The actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be early 20s, definitely.
No capes.
No capes. Well, I'm not going to be flying around in the sky and getting pulled into jet engines, am I? Thank you, Daddy Josh. All right. The child, of course, is the pistachio-hued scene stealer who would melt the Mandalorian's icy bounty hunter heart by becoming the innocent he must protect at all costs. The little one remained under wraps until the debut of the first episode, then instantly became an object of global adoration. His real name is Grogu, but in our world, he's forever Baby Yoda. Honestly, it's something I never would have done because Yoda is Yoda, Filoni says. Yoda's homeworld and backstory were never fully revealed, and Filoni wanted to protect the mystery that Lucas built around the original Jedi Master. I think people now look back and think it was a slam dunk, but we were very cautious, Filoni says of the child. The amount of measuring, especially in the first season, for how we were framing this kid, took a lot of effort. The pair spoke with Vanity Fair in a joint Zoom interview, and as Filoni described his initial reservations in one window, Favreau disappeared from another. Mace Windu's coming back.
That was
Favreau,
a projection right there if I've ever heard one.
a Freudian slip. Favreau disappeared from another, rustling through papers and returning with sketches and drawings of Mando and child. One of them, drawn by Filoni himself, showed the baby's hand reaching out of a floating bassinet towards his burly protector. Most of the other concepts were off-putting, wrinkled, feral, or cartoonish. It's easy to understand Filoni's hesitation. There were a lot of different looks that popped up, and then we finally got one that clicked. In this drawing, Favreau says, tapping a full-color concept image by artist Chris Alzman, now emblazoned on countless pieces of merchandise. In it, the child sits in a bulky brown onesie with wide doe eyes and a slightly derpy expression. That's him, this one, Favreau says. He had a kind of goofy, ugly look. We didn't want him too cute. Part of his charm is that you feel a little pity for the guy, like Chaplin's Tramp or Charlie Brown.
Can you highlight like where you're going with your mouse? Like certain I guess quotes or whatever you could probably highlight, just so like maybe they can see it, because it's very hard to see in general. So if you just do that,
they have to listen to my words.
Yeah, that's a lot easier.
I'll highlight stuff that we're talking about, but like
I'm saying No, not the whole thing. I'm just saying, like, when there's a quote or something, or when there's something important, like the child highlight or something. That's all I'm saying.
Well, do you have anything to say about the child, or do you want to keep going?
Nah, I'm good. Do you?
All right. No. There was never an alternate creature or creature suggestion. It's not like we might have gotten a crustacean like baby Akbar on lunchboxes, dolls, backpacks, and t-shirts. And we may have never gotten a child at all if Lucasfilm hadn't solved another even bigger problem with The Mandalorian. How to create a show that goes to new worlds in every episode without the backbreaking budgetary demands of shipping a crew to the farthest reaches of our own planet. We were making series that were meant to sit alongside our films with a third of the budget and half the time, says Carrie Beck, a development and production executive at Lucasfilm who co-executive produced The Mandalorian. While it becomes a huge success, I feel like everybody's blood, sweat, and tears are on that screen. Ironically, the thing that cleared their path was a wall. And here we go. We're going to talk about the volume. The cluster of bulky beige buildings in Manhattan Beach, a South Bay community near Los Angeles, looks as boring as any warehouse district. They're the khaki pants of architecture. Inside at least two of these sound stages, however, are portals to other worlds. After The Mandalorian debuted in late 2019, Lucasfilm Special Effects Division, Industrial Light and Magic, began to reveal details of the colossal curved LED wall they called the volume that can envelop a film crew as effectively as any location shoot, generating an environment that's convincingly photorealistic, even to a digital camera. There's no need to ship a crew and props and actors anywhere. Everywhere can be brought to the studio. With 3 volumes now in LA, 1 in London, and 1 in Vancouver, film and TV creators are just beginning to discover its capabilities. The glow of dusk or dawn can last the whole workday if necessary. You can freeze the sun. Or if you're shooting something set on Tatooine, you can freeze 2 of them. Back in 2018, when The Mandalorian was first being planned, the tech was unsteady. Richard Bluff, supervisor of ILM's environments departments, had spent much of his career building virtual backdrops and knew the volume, which ILM officially calls stagecraft, could be just what The Mandalorian needed. Without it, the show would either be too costly to produce or too chintzy to impress. The turning point came in the spring of that year when one of the most famously exacting directors of all time stopped by. James Cameron came to visit, Bluff says. He was next door working on the Avatar sequels in his water tank. John had asked for us to display on the monitors the test we'd shot earlier in the day. This footage featured a Mandalorian stand-in pacing around the dilapidated ruins of an abandoned building, littered with debris and stained by water damage, with walls peeling like dead skin. The structure really exists and sits on Angel Island in San Francisco Bay, but the building's location had been scanned and imported to the LED screens, and the bounty hunter and his mirror-like armor seemed to have transported into a decaying room. If anyone on Earth could see the seams of this effect, it would be Cameron. I remember distinctly Jim taking off his glasses and leaning close to look at the quality of the image and how convincing it was, Bluff says. I think for everybody, that afternoon was the eureka moment because it was working. And yeah, I mean, if there's one guy I would want to kind of verify my special effects, it would be James Cameron.
James Cameron.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Also really quick, this just fucking made me laugh. Like people are like responding to Celia's personal chair. It's like, yeah, I'm with you, chair. like they're like responding as if chair is like his name.
It is.
I don't know. I find that very funny.
It's his last name.
Oh, Celia is his first name, personal is his middle name, and chair is his last name.
Of course.
Oh, that makes sense. And then yes, window did fall through an open window. Window. Wait. The window. Fuck, that was hard.
When I do what ifs and I have and windows in them, I always mistype window as windy, like with the Y instead of the U. It's such a constant thing. Yes, Yoda on a chair, one of our greatest memes of all time.
Thank Fulcrum for that. I had to do Fulcrum. He mentioned it.
We had him verify his identity last week by doing that. So.
Whoa.
Yeah. 4 years later, the volume is an essential everyday tool. During a visit in mid-March, it conjures a rocky gray cavern with cliffs embedded with large tech components. Whatever this place is, it's been colonized. On the flat ceiling of the studio, you see a craggy roof of the cave with a rough opening that lets light pour down from the circle of blue sky. There's less clutter than other sets and virtually no dust. There's no smell of fresh paint, sculpted foam, or freshly cut lumber. The volume has the sterile ozone scent of Best Buy, as millions upon millions of tiny light-emitting diodes embedded in the curved surface evoke alien landscapes. Favreau shows off the stage like a man opening the hood of a newly restored classic car. Asked if this technology allows them to make a full season of television in the same amount of time as a Star Wars or Marvel movie, Favreau shakes his head. No, it's like half the time.
Diodes. I've never heard that word before.
And there's the gang, dude.
That looks cool. Let's just keep this image up here.
Who's your favorite person on this? In this
Oh
picture?
man, Kathleen Kennedy has to be my favorite person there.
I'm more of a Filoni man myself.
No, let's just Photoshop Kathleen out, and then just have. Wait, is that Deborah?
It's Deborah Chow, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
yeah,
she's really good too.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. It's so atmospheric.
Like you can just do so much production design without having to be on the set, and you just like have like the effects, the special effects team, and like the fog and everything, like the production hands and everything, just be all there. Everyone can just be all in one room, and then have access to like the bathroom, food. Everyone can just be on set without having to be on location, which is so cool. Who created? Did the article go into who created it? I'm sorry. Was it just James Cameron was vetting it, or what was?
Yeah, he was vetting it. It was just ILM. They talked about one guy, but I don't think he created it.
I wonder how much it cost before they finally found a version that worked. Like how much money went into
years,
it,
dude.
You know what I mean?
It's so sick. Imagine if George had this in the prequels.
Honestly, I mean, I think the prequels, like in some respects, still look really good, if not better. Like it's okay. This is going to be really funny if this starts becoming like a conversation where it's like, was actual CGI better than practical CGI? And then it'd be like the real CGI people, purists, are going to be like, no. The episode 3 was the highest form of CGI, and you should always keep it like that, where they're not looking at anything and they have to act. Whereas when they actually have environments created for them, it makes it too easy and it's not real acting, or you know what I mean? It's going to be really interesting to see if there's any conversation around like the CGI thing, the same way it was like the practical effects over CGI effects kind of deal. I don't know. People always like to find something to make arguments about.
I think the prequels look good still, but I keep thinking of that episode of The Mandalorian in season 2 where they go to the planet Ahsoka's on, and like how real that looked.
Yeah,
like how incredible that looked, and like it wasn't just the backgrounds. It was like the mist in the air, and like how just desolated it looked. It looked amazing, and
yeah,
I don't think Revenge of the Sith had anything quite like that. I mean, to be fair, they weren't really outside much in Revenge of the Sith, but that's just my opinion. Let's continue.
No, I agree. No, let's stay on the article a little bit. Let's stay on that image a little bit. Let's just chill.
Well.
Yeah, what's up, Naomi? Have you seen Naomi in here before? I have not seen Naomi in here before, but welcome. Or Naomi, however you say it. I'm sorry.
Welcome in.
Welcome. What is up, Team Money? We got prequel CGI looks better than She-Hulk. Yes, have you seen that, Zach?
Oh God, dude.
How is it that the She-Hulk looks so much worse than actual Hulk in terms
because
of
they probably have assets pre-made for the Hulk already. That's my guess, and that the She-Hulk's CGI isn't done, but it looks terrible as
the
now.
Keyframes weren't all there. Like they were laggy, and it was really weird. And I was like, what the hell is like? Is it because they completely changed her look to match like a CGI character, and they didn't match her look like they did with Mark Ruffalo? Or
I also think part of it is she looks like the Hulk looks like you're gonna look at the Hulk and you're gonna think that there's no way that's that's not a human playing him. Like it's obviously a CGI monstrosity, but like I feel like her dimensions are much closer to that of a regular person. You know what I mean? And so like the CGI has to be held to a higher standard because she's really close. Like a tall woman you could have painted a tall woman green and you'd have the She-Hulk, but instead they animated this actress.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
I do like though that they're, I guess, trying to make it realistic and not over the top in a way. Even though it is over the top, it's like they're replicating like an actual female body, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like I think it's actually harder to do that than it is to create this like obviously unrealistic Hulk dude. But I thought the whole trailer was bad. Like the tone of it just doesn't. I mean, this isn't a She-Hulk podcast, but I didn't like the trailer very much. Not just because of the CGI. I thought it was kind of cringy.
Yeah, they used the Sonic trailer music for it. I don't know if you noticed that.
I watched
But-
it once. I don't really remember.
Yeah, and then what is up with like this? Seems like they're completely abandoning stakes and drama and just going towards humor
I don't know.
for
I mean,
everything. For everything Marvel so far.
I haven't read like the She-Hulk comics, but I've heard that she kind of breaks the fourth wall a lot, like Deadpool. So maybe it's just she's a more silly character.
Fair enough.
But
Also,
yeah.
what's up, Sean? Welcome, dude. And then thank you. Appreciate it. Much love, Naomi or Naomi, if you want to specify how we say your name so we don't keep butchering it.
I think it's like Naomi.
Naomi, whatever it is.
Naomi's a cool name. Like that's probably one of my favorite like names for like for a woman. Like I like Vanessa, I like Naomi.
I personally like Sporages.
That's my favorite female name.
I think that is like the best name ever created. Personally, I'm gonna name my first 2 kids of opposite genders the same name because it transcends gender. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Well, we should do some She-Hulk watch parties.
Okay,
Wait,
so
that'll be our poll today. I'm gonna put a poll up. Should we do She-Hulk watch parties? I don't know if you
just
saw
randomly do a She-Hulk and just shit on it the entire time.
I don't know if you saw last week, Alex, but Kat and I, we did a poll to determine like what days new Kenobi episodes would be coming out, and our chat decided that it would be Fridays. So we decided that.
Oh, that we're moving to Fridays?
Yeah, like we made the call. Lucasfilm was gonna do what we say.
Okay.
Should we do?
I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, we are the Evil Ewok podcast. They should totally listen to us and do everything you say.
Definitely.
And so, okay, so it's Naomi. Okay, welcome then, Naomi. Yeah,
All
what
right.
the fuck it means? See, I love when people write comments that like aren't grammatically correct, but you understand what they mean in context of like a meme.
We've got the poll is live, everybody. Go ahead and vote. And should we do She-Hulk watch parties?
Oh my god. I was gonna say something before we went on like the Naomi sidebar. And now I cannot remember. Was there something about Star Wars that we were saying? Like in terms of well, obviously we were talking about Star Wars.
We never talk about Star Wars.
But it was something about the volume, James Cameron, Dave Filoni. Oh. Okay, I forgot again. I had it for a second. I had it for a second, but then I forgot again because I saw Charlie say Friday, and then I started thinking about fries, and then I got
brain blast.
I know. I wish I just wasn't always gone. Should we? Okay. What do we know for sure when Kenobi's gonna come out? Which day?
That's what we tried to figure out last week. So some people are very adamant it's Friday. Some people are very adamant it's Wednesday.
Do you want to move our podcasts to Fridays?
If that's when they come out, yes. Or we could, yeah. I mean, we can do that, or we could just stream on Fridays too.
Or no, Kat might not be able to do it because she can't do Fridays, right?
We can do the pre-watch party and then just like reconvene after the episode on whatever day it comes out.
Yeah, Kat's not here this week, Sean. Unfortunately, I miss Kat too. I haven't seen her actually in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks because every time I'm gone, she's here. Every time she's gone, I'm here. And then every time Zach's gone, we have a guest on.
Yeah.
So it's like we're always like, missing each other. All other episodes Wednesday. If it's on Wednesdays, I don't think Kat can do that. So we would have to just like maybe talk about it the day after on Thursday.
We're gonna have to call Lucasfilm and have them rearrange.
Yeah, I think we should talk to them about our perspective on how Ewan McGregor is going to be looking at sea otters for 6 episodes. I think maybe we should let them know that it's very brave of them to do. And that we're very proud that Lucasfilm decided to take a very, very direct approach into a character that, has lost everything and just pursues, his adventures and his journeys to discover sea otters and nature. And yeah, I think
honestly, I wouldn't blame him. Like after all he's endured, he deserves to just go look at sea otters.
Yeah, personally.
But hello there, Leia Rose. I don't think I've seen you in here either. So welcome.
We got new peeps popping on. Welcome, welcome. Every
Let's continue.
Thursday.
Every
Thursday at 4. And then we usually have a cat on the show. And then we have guests on for watch parties from like throughout the entire Star Wars fandom and everything. So if you guys are curious and you just pop it on for the first time, there's a playlist of like our highlights, and then there's like all of our podcasts in one playlist too on the main channel, so you can go check that out. Also, do not forget to like this video, because then it helps other people pop in, and then we can grow a little community together and talk Star Wars from a non-biased viewpoint and perspective and just have a good time. But if we don't like something, we will not shill. That's something that we do not do here. We are very vocal and adamant about what we don't like.
Yeah.
But sea otters we like.
We like sea otters. We're hoping to have a sea otter as a guest on the show at some point. Maybe we could get you. Oh my God, it's Pablo. He's back.
Oh, that son of a fucking bitch.
Pablo, what did you think of this article? It didn't really mention you.
Yeah, I noticed you're not involved, Pablo.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Are you too busy cleaning the rocks again over there at Galaxy's Edge?
They keep him busy. All right, let's continue with the article. One of the first outsiders to see the volume was Pedro Pascal.
What?
I don't know, man.
Oh my God. Anyway, okay, continue.
Pablo would rather stay humble. That's admirable of you, Pablo. Very admirable. The volume was Pedro Pascal. When the actor was recruited by Favreau to lend a flinty presence to the Mandalorian's anti-hero. I don't know that I'd call him an anti-hero. I think that's stretching.
Wait, who is he calling an anti-hero?
The article's calling Din Djarin an anti-hero. I definitely think he's a hero.
No, he's a hero.
Yeah.
He's always been a hero.
He's never at any point done anything like...
There's no conflicting moral value that he needs to overcome.
An anti-hero would be like if he worked for the Empire sometimes. In my mind.
I don't even think Mayfield's an anti-hero, because he always had like, his moral compass that he followed at the end of the day.
I think I think he was like a villain at first, and now he's a hero.
Yeah.
Like he made that switch. Like,
yeah.
I don't think there is an anti-hero in the Mandalorian.
That's a very strange take. I don't know if I agree with that.
I definitely don't agree with it.
What do you guys all think?
Yeah.
I don't think Din Djarin's an anti-hero at all.
By the way, it looks like we're doing She-Hulk watch parties.
Oh.
79% want us to do
them. It would be funny if it was 69%, then we would have to do it. But Naomi, no, it's just a joke. That's not... Pablo Hidalgo is like, the guy who said you can't show emotions over Star Wars or whatever, and made fun of theory and everything. And whether you like theory or not, we took the stance that it was like, dude, at the end of the day, we're going to show our emotions because, we like Star Wars, unlike you, Pablo. And that isn't actually Pablo. That's just an account that says Pablo Hidalgo.
What if it is actually Pablo?
He's the what's his role? He's like the lore master or something?
He's like he's involved in the Lucasfilm story group. Basically he makes sure everything fits in canon and nothing contradicts, even though there have been things that contradict. But yeah, that's his job.
Yeah. In other words, he was just being an asshole one day, and we kind of started talking shit on him, and then someone made an account called Pablo Hidalgo, and we were like laughing hard when we were talking about how Pablo sucks. And then we started, it's just a joke, Naomi. We do that a lot here.
Every time.
Oh no, we got spam again.
Oh, God. Mods, can you? Okay, cool.
Okay, got her.
Yeah, Pablo.
What the fuck is that, dude?
I don't know, dude. I don't know why it always shows up. Let's see. I knew it was an ace in the hole. I just knew, Pascal says. And I haven't been surprised by any of it. Maybe I've been a little surprised by how compelling the Mandalorian can be because he's faceless. But that has been a selling point for him too. The character, later revealed to be named Din Djarin, is such a hard-line devotee to the Mandalorian rules that he scripturally keeps his helmet on in the presence of others. That means Pascal can sometimes play the role as a voice actor while a stand-in wears the armor, which frees him to accept other projects. Maybe I'm a little bit of a commitment phobe, he says, because the coolness of it really excites me and the lifespan of it really intimidates me. So, I mean, I've always viewed that as a strength of the show for them. Like, he can just kind of get in the studio and record his lines. Pablo's the guy. He's the goat. He's the Michael Jordan of janitors.
He only shows up when Pablo's here. That's true, isn't it? Pablo, you son of a bitch.
Pablo, are you running the bots on us?
Oh, how do you zoom out on Mac? Anyone? I just totally zoomed in, like right on the comments, and I can't see anything else.
I'm a PC man through and through.
Oh no. Oh fuck. Okay. Well, anyway, I guess I don't need to see myself.
You don't need to see yourself. You look
No.
great, brother.
Oh, thanks.
Star Wars actors tend to become Star Wars actors for life. In the late 90s, this led Ewan McGregor to agonize over playing the young Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequel movies. I really question it a lot, he says. I feel like I was part of this new wave of British cinema, really, and that Star Wars wasn't me. And that's not what I stood for. I was this sort of urban, grungy, independent film actor. The late Sir Alec Guinness notoriously looked down on the space saga when he played the wise old man in the original films. McGregor says he did too, especially after his first installment, 1999's The Phantom Menace, suffered punishing reviews. It was hard because it was such a huge decision to do them, such a big event. It was quite difficult for all of us to deal with that. Also, knowing you've got a couple more to do. So it seems like he said he agonized over this to do Star Wars. And I imagine that is a tough decision that you have to make if you're an actor, because it seems like he respects the original trilogy, but he's not like a massive Star Wars fan. So to tie himself to Star Wars, I mean, he's basically forever going to be known as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I can sympathize with him for that. Like
he just doesn't really cast as a new character.
I mean, yeah, but it doesn't really matter what he does. It doesn't matter what roles he plays. He's always going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. He played Jesus, for Christ's sake, and he's still known for being Obi-Wan Kenobi. So
yeah, I mean, he is Jesus though there too. So
that's true.
I mean, he's pretty typecast as just Jesus, being the Scottish Jesus, being the beautiful man that we've always known.
He is, and he's the voice.
Thanks to Sean, I finally got back, so I can see everything again.
You can see yourself.
Thank you, Sean. Yes.
Very cool.
Yes, I'm okay. I was having some Vietnam flashbacks for a second, but I'm good.
McGregor was relieved to put the franchise behind him, but in 2017, he was invited to the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood for a marathon screening of every Star Wars film. They asked me if I would want to introduce one, and I've never done anything like that, but suddenly it just struck me that I really did want to, McGregor recalls. Why had his feelings changed? I don't know, he says, scratching his scruffy cheek. I really do think it had to do with growing up. He enjoyed seeing people in sleeping bags pulling an all-nighter with his movies. Kids who'd grown up with the prequels weren't as cynical as the critics. A few reviewers even begun to repraise them. People loved him as Obi-Wan, which made McGregor realize that he did too. And I mean, that's exactly what happened. Like, I feel like at least I think that most people always liked him as Obi-Wan. I don't think he ever really got criticism. I think he was always, oh, the prequels sucked, but Ewan was great as Obi-Wan for a lot of people, even when the prequels were like getting shit on all right and left.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
He's always like, he gave it his all, and that really was evident in the movies. And I'm really, I mean, regardless of whether the show is good or bad, it's gonna make me happy just seeing him back as Kenobi.
I think just having him like have the same aesthetic and the same, like have him feel the same, but also like just slightly defeated on like a really nice camera is all I really need. At the end of the day, I just need to see him say something clever and move the way he moves, and I'll be happy.
Move the way he moves.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe went the same thing. He has been coming out with some pretty cool things lately, though. Very, very like experimental type of films too. Like very interesting.
He's a phenomenal actor, man.
He's so short too. I did not like. He's such a short guy.
He's like a little shorter than me. He's not that short.
Isn't he like 5'7", 5'6"?
No, he's like closer to 5'10".
He looks tiny. Hold on.
I mean, he's listed at 5'10", but I imagine he's a little shorter because that's Hollywood.
He looks fucking tiny, dude.
Could you body Ewan McGregor?
Could I body?
Could you body him?
Dude, I wouldn't want to.
Well, he's got all that lightsaber training, dude. He'd probably mess you up.
I would just want to kiss him. He's 5'5".
He's not 5'5".
Yeah, he is. It's right here.
There's no way he's 5'5".
I told you. I knew.
Are you looking at Conor McGregor?
No, Daniel Radcliffe, 5'5".
We're talking about Obi-Wan.
The comment, right? Well, no, we literally talked about Daniel Radcliffe being short, and then he's 5'5".
You said he's short. I wasn't. We were talking about Obi-Wan.
Well, we said it's sad that they're all typecast, and I was like, yeah, Daniel Radcliffe is short too, and then
I didn't hear
And then
you
I
say
said he's
Daniel
in.
Radcliffe.
And then I
Yeah,
said he's
he's
in weird
short.
movies. He's been in a lot of experiment. Well, actually, that's funny because Ewan's been in a lot of experimental movies too. So that could have been either way. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I was like, you're talking
Fair
about
enough.
Ewan.
Okay, I was like, there's no way Daniel Radcliffe is 5'10", dude. He's so short.
Daniel Radcliffe's 8 feet tall, dude.
What were you? Sorry, I cut you. You were saying something that was actually good, and I cut you off saying he's 5'5".
I don't remember.
There's something about Ewan. You're like he's 5'10", and then you started talking about something else.
No, I was just asking you if you could body him. But
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, I would just hold him closely, and actually, I am gonna hold him closely at Celebration. So
you're
I'm
gonna
very
give him a little
excited.
smooch.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna ask him if I can kiss him on the cheek just for the sake of the video.
What if he says only on the lips?
Like, and then looks into my eyes romantically, and then I'm just extremely confused.
You have to roll with it. At Team Money, height doesn't matter. I was short for most of my life until I grew in senior year of high school, but height doesn't matter. It's but a number. It's
Yeah,
what
only
you-
the other height matters. So Johnny Depp's lawyer. Well, what do you think about bodying Ewan McGregor? Would you kiss him or would you punch him? That's the real question. I think
Who
everyone
would
kiss him.
punch you? Nobody would punch you in McGregor.
Maybe OT purists.
Not even, dude. You'd have to be like probably Ewan McGregor's ex-wife would punch him, but that's about it.
I'm Ewan's height, 5'10". I'm 5'11" and 3/4. I think Zach's. You're 5'11" too, right? Or 6 feet.
I'm almost 5'11".
Okay.
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
Punch him.
Oh, is that why he's here? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, stop. Don't Amber Heard him.
Alrighty.
You'll never wash your lips again. Your girlfriend will love it. Wait.
When you kiss Ewan.
But does that mean that she doesn't like my lips? She likes
Come on,
Ewan's
man.
lips?
It's Ewan McGregor. What do you can't blame her. You can't blame her.
She's more of a Hayden fan. She's more of a Hayden fan.
I don't know, man. Ewan's pretty darn good too. Okay.
I'm 172 centimeters. You psychopath.
You Australian. After the screening, McGregor started to get asked the question nearly every time he gave an interview. Would he ever consider playing Obi-Wan Kenobi again? McGregor always answered in the affirmative, which is good politics, but not a contractual obligation. The only time the question really mattered was when McGregor was asked by Lucasfilm, then head of story, Kiri Hart, about 4 years ago. She just said, "We want to know if it's true. You've said you'd do it again. We want to know if you mean it." McGregor recalls, and I said, "Yeah, I do mean it. I'd be happy to do it again." Could you imagine if he was just like, "No, I don't mean it at all."
He's just like, fuck off, dude.
No, yeah, like I'm looking
Also,
at sea otters.
5'10" is my girlfriend's height, so 5'10" is fine. I don't think that's that tall. I think if you're like above 6 feet, or like if you are 6 feet, I think then that's when I'm like, okay, you're pretty tall. But I don't think 5'10" is like, bad.
It's above average. I think the average height is
It's
like
it's
5'9".
definitely above average, but I think from like preference, I think most men aren't going to be like, oh my god, you're 5'10", unless you yourself are like 5'4" or 5'3" or something.
Oh, we're talking about for women? 5'10" is tall for a woman.
Not that tall.
The average is
tall.
like 5'6", dude.
Yeah, I know, but it's tall, but it's like it's not like, oh my god, she's so tall. It's just like,
but it's tall. I'd consider it tall.
like I wouldn't see that and be like, wow, you're so tall. I'd be like, oh, okay. In heels, maybe. Well, then you're above 6 feet in heels, maybe. So that's when it's like, okay. But I don't know. Sidebar.
Pablo changed his profile pic. Look at that beautiful man.
Okay, such an ugly motherfucker. I don't like him. I've never liked Pablo.
What do you have to say to
Well,
this?
there's always a first on the Evil Ewok podcast. That's all I have to say.
Always.
What's 5'10" centimeters? Do you really want me to go like figure out like why can't you just use our system?
Isn't it like 178? Or let me see.
Well, it's 12 times. Fuck, dude. I don't want to do math right now, Alice. How about you guys just like?
Yeah,
how about the rest of the world follows our rules instead?
You sound super ignorant right now.
That's the point.
Yeah, it's like 178. All right, let's continue. Lucasfilm intended to make Obi-Wan Kenobi as a movie, which was another rumor that we heard that turned out to be true, to be directed by Oscar nominee Stephen Daldry. McGregor would be a producer this time, giving him more say over the story. I just said, I think it should be a story about a broken man, a man who's lost his faith, he says. He's always had a funny line to say, or always seems to be calm and is a good warrior, soldier, or whatever. But to see that man come apart and see what gets him back together again, that's where we started. So this right here is promising to me because it shows me that they know exactly the journey that he has to take. Now, whether or not the journey is effective, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But at least they know what direction they need to go in.
How much left of the article is there?
Not much. We're almost to the end of it.
Let's just go to like the juicy stuff and then close out.
Well, we're talking about Obi-Wan here. It's this juicy stuff. When the Obi-Wan film later evolved into an Obi-Wan TV series, let's restart. When the Obi-Wan film later evolved into an Obi-Wan TV series as part of Lucasfilm's new yearning for Disney Plus content, Daldry departed and Deborah Chow, a director from The Mandalorian, came aboard with the goal to keep the series cinematic in scope. There remained one missing component. McGregor's prequel co-star, Hayden Christensen, had been Anakin Skywalker to his Obi-Wan. Brothers in arms until their brutal battle on a lava flow in Revenge of the Sith. Still, in the early iterations of the Obi-Wan in Exile story, Vader wasn't included. So this is interesting because we heard a lot of rumors about Darth Maul, but then they came out and said he was never involved. So I wonder what the story would have been like if they didn't have Vader in it. If it would have just been some kind of small story on Tatooine, maybe with like Jabba the Hutt and his crime bounty hunters and Luke and protecting Luke from them or something. But that was interesting to me. It's an ongoing conundrum at Lucasfilm. How much should they showcase legacy characters and how much should they keep them in reserve? Would introducing Vader to a story about Obi-Wan's exile detract from their fateful meeting on the Death Star in 1977 Star Wars, when Vader strikes down his old friend? Or could a previously unknown encounter actually enhance that moment? We have these what-if conversations 24/7, says Michelle Rijwan, an executive producer of Obi-Wan and one of the company's lead development chiefs. It's fun to, in your head, peruse the Star Wars toy store. Oh, we could have this character or feature that ship. But at the end of the day, we really need to keep it pure about why. No arguments there from me.
I doubt that.
You doubt what?
That they do it for purist reasons rather than... I doubt that. That just sounds like PR speak to me.
I think maybe not like the executives, but the writers certainly, I would hope, would do that.
Even then, dude, I don't like. I've lost so much faith in the writers nowadays. Like, I feel like they're just like paid to like be like, you have to insert this because we're gonna be selling that and whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess, whatever.
That's certainly the case sometimes. And Alice, if this is true, I will be very upset.
Watto was replaced. Wait, what was how many Wattos did we say? How many times will Watto appear? And we had like a poll. Was it like 1 to 3, 4 to 6?
No, it was like, I think we just we have a bet with X-Wing that if Watto appears or something, like it's like,
oh, I have to pay him like $1.15, like the most random amount of money ever created. But yes, Sparaj, here you have to be at least 160 centimeters to be in this chat room. That's kind of how it works. As a woman, at least.
It's a hard rule, apparently.
Yeah. Only tall women.
In the fall of 2019, Chow sat in Christensen's living room, asking him to return as the most fearsome tyrant in the galaxy. Logs crackled in the fireplace. A cup of herb, lemon, and ginger tea steamed in Chow's cup. It always amuses me how like articles sometimes try to be like novels with like the descriptions of like the logs crackled in the fireplace.
I know.
Steam
like that,
rose from my
they're
tea.
describing like a script or something.
Yeah. Vader, she told Christensen, would add a new dimension that could ultimately reframe the way fans look at their classic duel in the original movie. At the time of the meeting, it had been 14 years since Revenge of the Sith, and the actor assumed his galactic glory days were done. He was very happy to be wrong. This is a character that has come to define my life in so many ways, he says. I was originally hired to play a very specific portion of this person's life. Most of my work was with Anakin, and now I get to come back and explore the character of Darth Vader. Technically, you don't need Christensen for Vader. all you need is the mask, a hulking figure in the suit, and if you're lucky, James Earl Jones' imperious voice. But you do need Christensen to show the audience the hothead but compassionate man who was lost when Anakin Skywalker became Vader. A lot of my conversations with Deborah were about wanting to convey this feeling of strength, but also coupled with imprisonment. Christensen says, there is this power and vulnerability, and I think that's an interesting space to explore. So what do you think, like, the size of his role is going to be? And do you think we're going to get flashbacks, or do you, because it seems like a lot of his preparation is for being Darth Vader?
I'm just really concerned that it's probably going to be like teased as a limited series, and they're going to give us nothing in 6 episodes, and then be like, "Oh, just kidding! It's now a 3-season special because it did so well, even though they knew it was going to do well." It's probably what's going to happen at the end of the day. It doesn't surprise me. I feel like with 6 episodes and everything that's involved here, there's no way they can get everything, and I'm worried that it's going to be very surface level and not as like complex and like high production value as we're hoping it's going to be, because it's a TV series show, obviously. But I don't know. I've just been getting worried ever since like all the comments in all my videos are just like bait and switch. Rev is going to be the main character, and then on top of other spoilers and stuff that I came across accidentally, which really pissed me off. I hope none of those are right, but at the end of the day, I'm worried that it's going to be very surface level and very basic storytelling for 6 episodes, or a bait and switch in regards to saying it's only going to be 6 episodes, getting everyone to come in and then say, oh, it's going to be 3 seasons actually of 6 episodes or something. I don't know.
I haven't looked at the leaks. I don't want to know the leaks. I don't think they're real, though. I think that whoever created them knew exactly what to say to piss a bunch of people off, and that's the whole, because like it just seems too convenient that like everyone's like, oh my god, it's horrible, it's agenda, blah blah blah. Like, it, to me, it just seems too convenient that it would be that on the nose, and that's why I'm hoping that the leaks aren't true. It just seems too, like, there's no way they could mess it up.
Yeah, Ewan seems, I mean, even though he is on NDA and paid really well to be his character again, he seems pretty enthusiastic about how the fans will like it. You know,
They all do. They all seem thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, Hayden seems a little funky, not gonna lie.
I think he's always just a little awkward.
He's just always a little weird. Oh, I've got to tell you, Amanda's friend's friend dated Hayden back during episode 3.
Oh wow.
Before he met his now wife. And she said that he's like the dorkiest man ever, but he's so sweet. And I'm just like, that's hilarious. Like, I was talking to her friend about that, like back in the day, you know, because obviously she's 10 years older than I am. So around that time, like her friends were like hanging out with all these like celebrities in LA and everything, and like Hayden happened to be one of them. And like she mentioned that, and Amanda was like, man, if I was around them at that time, I would be like, you know, fangirling over Hayden so hard, but I wasn't around during that time. So obviously none of the girls there were Star Wars fans, so they had no idea who he was. They're just like, this guy's kind of a dork. And it was like the funniest thing ever.
That's really cool though.
A little anecdotal thing that I guess, you know, not very many people would know about unless you're on the Evil Ewok podcast. So boom, there you go.
When Chow became the showrunner, she championed a rematch between Vader and Kenobi as the Lucasfilm brain trust mold whether to go that route. Meanwhile, sound stages have been booked in England and then canceled as the story underwent more internal scrutiny, sparking fears from fans that the show itself might go away too. In March 2020, shortly before lockdown began, the decision was finalized. Vader would return. Part of Chow's successful perspective on why Vader and Kenobi should face each other again may surprise even the most ardent Star Wars fans, especially those who think of the two as harboring an epic contempt for one another. For me, across the prequels, through the original trilogy, there's a love story dynamic with these two that goes through the whole thing, Chow says. I feel like it was quite hard not to include the person who left Kenobi in such anguish in the series. What intrigued her was the idea that despite what Vader had become, Kenobi might still care deeply about him. I don't know how you could not, she says. I don't think he ever will not care about him. What's special about that relationship is that they loved each other. And
I think we can stop there too.
There was like one thing I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and then we'll stop.
So after this, we'll do that. Yeah, I gotta jump on another podcast for like 10 minutes.
All right.
But yes, Naomi, thanks again for watching, and yeah, keep jumping in.
Definitely. I think Chow brings up a lot of good points here. I never it makes sense that Kenobi would always love Anakin, but and I keep going back to that line where Vader tells Luke, Obi-Wan once thought as you do. So I think they can play with that and have Obi-Wan try to turn Vader back to the light and fail. You have anything to add? All right, and then the only other thing I want to talk about is actually
Favreau's forehead.
Yeah, Favreau's forehead. It's right here. In October of 2021, after Dawson had shot guest spots, she read a trade report about Christensen possibly joining her standalone show. Anakin Skywalker had been the character's mentor, and Vader's memory would understandably still haunt her. Dawson took a screenshot of the headline and opened Instagram using the characters' nicknames for each other from the Clone Wars as a caption. I just posted, Sky Guy, they know. See you soon. Snips. Only later did she realize that the report was just an unconfirmed rumor. Fans took her post as hard confirmation, and the powers that be at Lucasfilm were distressed. I looked at my email, and Star Wars was like, you might want to take that down. Dawson remembers. I'm like, man, I can't be trusted. So this kind of makes me think,
damn it,
that maybe he's not in it. Oh, they're back.
Blocked. Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
Because I read it as like not so much as oh my god, we don't want this to get out, so take it down. I read it more as we don't want the fans to be expecting something that's not happening, so take it down. Which sucks, because I would love to have Hayden in that show too.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really like. Let's just say that Hayden is actually a very, very bad actor. I would rather just stay under the guise of he is good, he's just bad writing, instead of continually giving him more and more opportunities to like hope maybe not make the character as special to me anymore. I don't know. I'm okay with him just being very limited. I don't need him to be in everything.
I want him to be in it, not like the co-star, but like I think it would make sense for him to appear to Ahsoka as a Force Ghost. I think it would make a lot of sense. Like they kind of left that the last time they saw each other, he was trying to kill her. You might want to patch
but then I mean, like, what's stopping him from just becoming a Force Ghost everywhere? Like, why wasn't he present anywhere else?
I don't know. They have to answer that.
It's just the whole Force Ghost thing has to be like on par with continuity. Otherwise, it's just. I mean, I guess like they could, if they explained it in the correct, if they explain like that whole passage of becoming a Force Ghost and when you can use it, when you can't use it, etc. Just to bring light to it, because then it's like there's just so many little holes where it's like, well, why didn't he show up here? Why didn't he show up there? And then that opens up a whole another can of worms, and it's just, I don't know. But I mean, I agree. I think it would be great. It's just I don't want to ruin like the lore and ruin what it actually takes to become a Force Ghost, etc. A lot of people had the same argument with Qui-Gon appearing as Force Ghost, saying that he didn't actually learn how to do that. But I don't know.
He can, though. I was wrong. I used to say that too, but he can. In the there's a short story in From a Certain Point of View where he was learning how to manifest.
Also, sorry, really quick, Obsession. I will be there in a second. We're closing up. Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, Qui-Gon learned how to kind of turn himself into a Force Ghost over time after he died, and he did it for Obi-Wan's benefit, so that Obi-Wan wouldn't be alone on Tatooine. So theoretically, we could see Qui-Gon and not just hear him in this show, because it took him. The book said it took him about 10 years to learn how to do it, and then he got better at it over time. So we could see like a vague image of Liam Neeson if he's in the show as Qui-Gon's Force Ghost, if they choose to go that route and follow.
If he is, he's a very good liar.
Yeah, I mean,
said that he, you know what I mean. I mean, usually like Andrew Garfield was terrible at it, but
I mean, he said he didn't want to do television, but then he was in like an episode of an Atlanta, like a week after that. So it's like,
that's funny.
But that's pretty much all we've
got
for today.
I think that's gonna close up our podcast. Thanks everyone for everyone new who's popped in, everyone who continues to pop in. Aiden for the donos, you're always amazing. Depending on what day Kenobi falls on, we might change the podcast, but generally it's always Thursdays at 4 p.m. I know a lot of you are in Australia or in other countries, and that makes it very hard sometimes. But I do appreciate that you guys do pop on even when we're not live and watch through the podcast. It's very
Definitely.
awesome of you all. But with that, we will close off and